Hello everybody, my name is Janko Bocic. I'm the Chief Product Owner of the operation capabilities in our application lifecycle management platforms, which is SAP Solution Manager, SAP Focused Run, and SAP Cloud ALM. And today I'd like to speak about our new kid in the block, SAP Cloud ALM for operations, and I will provide you here all the details. So you see in front of you the agenda. So I will give you a kind of big picture. We will also talk about SAP Cloud ALM for operations in a kind of overview fashion. Then I will present you also two examples, which is integration monitoring and business process monitoring. And then I will also provide an outlook, so show with you the roadmap as well as some conceptual outlook regarding use cases and features which will come in future. Big picture, let's start with this. At the end, it's not dramatically changed to what we discussed also in the last recent years. At the end, we had always our classical application lifecycle management platforms, SAP Solution Manager and SAP Focused Run for on-premise landscapes. This means the operation platforms and the systems are running in the same data center at customer side. Now something new what is appeared is that customers are now moving their systems more and more to service providers, which could be HANA Enterprise Cloud, as you see here, hosting service providers, application management service providers, or infrastructure service providers. So if this is the case, the same applies. Customers can still operate their systems with their own solution manager or focused run running in their data center or running at the data center of the service provider. But in particular, service providers can now also use SAP Focused Run to provide their services to their customers, which could be hosting services, application management services, or infrastructure management service. Now, what is new is SAP Cloud ALM. SAP Cloud ALM was launched in May this year and was declared as generally available in August this year. And here in particular, we address the needs of cloud-centric landscapes. This means we are focusing on application and business process management for the SAP's software as a service offerings and platform as a service offerings. But we have also a kind of limited visibility in the on-premise systems, which can run in the data center of the service provider or which can run in the data center of the customer. But it's really for cloud-centric customers. And this means now in total, we have 3 platforms. We have SAP Solution Manager with the plugins Focused Build and Focused Insights, intended as a fully integrated ALM suite for on-premise customers, for mid-size and larger customers. And this is also intended for customers who are happy with the scope we get. Maintenance of Solution Manager is declared until 2027, can be prolonged customer specifically until 2030. So this is also a long time we have to provide you with SAP. We will provide you with SAP Solution Manager functionality. In addition, we have SAP Focused Run, in particular available for hybrid customers. Currently in version 2.0, we will provide you in November version 3.0. And this is in particular, as I mentioned already, for service providers and high-end customers. This means customers who have, on one hand side, a significant on-premise footprint, but also who have demands beyond SAP Solution Manager. And again, the new kid in the block is SAP Cloud ALM, a cloud-based solution and SaaS offering running in SAP Cloud Platform. Also, this provides you with a completely integrated ALM suite covering the build part as well as the run part, and is intended for cloud-centric customers. So here we provide content mainly for SAP software as a service offering and platform as a service offerings, not necessarily with a strong footprint in the on-premise world. And this is also intended to provide you with a kind of standardized cloud-based operation platform. And this means we provide all the content out of the box, and there's also a limited degree to enhance this. Now from the functional scope, we have now different capabilities in scope. We have the business process monitoring and down to the IT infrastructure monitoring, so different flavors of monitoring. We have, in addition, the event and alert management in scope to make more out of your data. We have then also analytics capabilities in scope on business process level and on technical level. We have also the operation automation in scope, where we at the end automate certain activities, regular tasks as well as reactive tasks. We have also analytics and intelligence in scope with our platforms. So this means we have to make sure that we can take out of this use cases certain content and visualize it in cross-use case dashboards, as well as we provide you with EA capabilities to predict out of the data certain things and to provide you also with predictive alerting. With this, I have also to mention we have business service management. Business service management is mainly intended to bring also our service level agreements and our downtime management to the next level. We like to expose this data now also for line of business users, feeding in data from SAP, feeding in data from your monitoring tools to make sure that we also can provide appropriate information for the line of business users. We have our two on-premise platforms, SAP Solution Manager and SAP Focus Run. So both are developed from the on-premise view to the cloud view. So we started with an on-premise scope and added now the cloud scope, and appropriately we move up in the stack in a certain sense. And now SAP Cloud ALM is developed in the opposite direction. We start with business process monitoring and integration monitoring, and we move then down also to the system health monitoring and other capabilities. Now I talk a little bit about SAP Cloud ALM for operations in deeper detail. It is intended at the end to provide you with transparency in your landscape, again in a cloud-centric landscape. So we are taking care about the cloud services with the first priority. We provide you also with an automated and integrated alert management, as well with automated corrections to critical issues. This transparency we provide you at different layers, at user layer, at integration layer, application layer, and up to the business process layer. Our clear vision is also to detect anomalies. So we like to make sure that you also already proactive information that certain things are not working correctly, as well as we like to enable collaboration between line of business and IT. Here in particular with our operation automation tools, which are acting as a kind of collaboration platform. Also embedded in the different use cases is the root cause analysis. This means we will not have isolated root cause analysis capabilities, but we will provide this embedded in our use cases on technical level and business process level. And again, operation automation can always also use event-driven as well as to automate regular tasks and making sure that your efficiency is appropriate. So this is now the structuring of the different capabilities, more or less already explained, monitoring on the different layers, integrated event and alert management, analytics and intelligence, and one hand side integrated in your capabilities, but also as a kind of cross-use case analytics and intelligence, and then operation automation to automate reactive as well proactive tasks to help you at the end to gain more efficiency in your operation. Why we do this? Relatively straightforward. SAP provided you always with a kind of monolithic architecture. If you see here the lead to cache process, only a small amount of components were involved. We had in our components automated integration. Now with the intelligence suite, we are moving to in a world where we have a lot of different cloud services and on-premise systems involved in the business processes. Appropriately, we have to make sure that you get also furthermore transparency and that you get also all the information you need to understand if you have disruptions in your business processes. And that's why we have to provide you with end-to-end visibility in your business processes, in your integration scenarios, in your end user scenarios. And this is our clear target, and this is where we are heading. From process perspective, we provide you with a fully integrated problem management. It starts with problem detection, monitoring at the different layers, as I already explained. Then we have the problem routing done by alert management and by the intelligent event processing. Just as a remark here, we splitted alert management from event management, mainly to be to be capable to also trigger manual events or also reoccurring events isolated from alerts. And then the intelligent event processing can then also drive problem resolution, for instance, by setting out notifications on different areas, for instance, by triggering operation flows. We can also trigger external operation flows based on SCP workflow. We can also trigger root cause analysis capabilities on different layers, as well as the third-party integration, for instance, trigger a certain ticket creation. What is the current scope? So now I like to speak a little bit about the current scope of SAP-Cloud ALM. We have on the lower level, we have so-called infrastructure services. So as I mentioned already, SAP-Cloud ALM is a microservice-based architecture. We have infrastructure services to delivering data for landscape management, notification management, and pull-based data collection, as well as push-based data collection. We have the so-called reuse services. This is exception monitoring and performance monitoring. These are services which can be reused in other services. We have the so-called use case services. Integration monitoring, business process monitoring, job monitoring is already available since September. And we are working hard to make also the rest of the use case services available. As you see here, we have real user monitoring, health monitoring, synthetic user monitoring, configuration monitoring, and consistency check, where we simply like to make sure that we also get visibility in these layers. And then on top of this, we have the so-called cross use case services. This means these are services which are embedded in the different use case services in the sense that we provide you also with this standard functionality like alert management and operation automation, but also services which are running completely isolated like the intelligent event processing service or the business service management. And we also plan to provide you with a cross use case analytics and intelligent. Now I like to come to the use cases in deeper detail. So first of all, we have integration monitoring. Why we need integration monitoring is relatively straightforward. At the end, we have different cloud services which are involved in a business scenario. Appropriately, data need to be exchanged between these different cloud services. And we have now to make sure that we record all these integration capabilities appropriately and put it in SAP-Cloud ALM. So SAP-Cloud ALM is like a spider in the net, which retrieves the integration artifacts and exceptions from all these different cloud services. In deeper detail, what is provided here? We have monitoring capabilities. We have embedded alerting also. We have also a capability to track certain documents to really understand in deeper detail where in what message a certain business document is currently hanging and how it is blocked appropriately. But we have also analytics capabilities. So we have also working with historical data and dashboards at the end to understand also the long-term processing of your integration artifacts. Now I like to show you a short demo that you get a better idea how integration monitoring is working. Now I'd like to introduce to you integration monitoring as part of SAP-Cloud ALM. We have here a company XY Energy, and we have here also different persona involved. At the end, the company is using the SAP Marketing Cloud, the SAP Cloud Platform Integration, as well as the Sales Cloud. And the scenario is to transfer leads from the Marketing Cloud to the Sales Cloud. We have different people which are involved. As you see here, we have Peter. Peter is a marketing expert, so he has to take care about the leads and is also responsible to transfer the leads from Marketing Cloud to the Sales Cloud. We have Harry involved, who is the integration owner. He is always responsible to detect and correct issues in conjunction with the integration. And then we have also Mary involved. She is at the end responsible that the end-to-end process is running smoothly. So let's start now with this scenario. We see now that at the end Peter comes in the game. Peter likes to exchange the leads. Harry detects now that there is a certain issue and he is actually working with integration monitoring. So this means he is now starting the application, selects the leads transfer scenario, and he sees now here this scenario, and you see that he has an issue in the marketing cloud. So with this information, he is now switching to the RF message, which lead to the issue, and he has a look in all the message, and you see here directly that we have a certificate issue, and also in the single view, he gets the details like the campaign ID. So with this information, he's now looking in the alert inbox, and he starts now the alert inbox, and also an alert was generated for this particular issue, one alert for all 3 messages. With this, he starts now a workflow, which at the end fixes the issue. In this case, this is an automated workflow, which fixes the certificate issues. So this means no human activity is necessary. If we refresh the inbox, everything is fine. And now we can confirm the alert appropriately and can declare it as clarified. With this information, we jump back to the monitoring. And in the monitoring, we see now we have still an issue at the Cloud for Customer side. We also drill down in this situation. We check now the message at C4C side. We see 2 were correct, 1 failed. And now we check the message with the error appropriately. We see here at the C4C side, we have an issue. Also here, an alert was generated. We dig now to this alert. We have now to check who has to resolve this. This is again a mapping issue. Appropriately, it has to be solved by business. We start now also a workflow for this. We see now that this is a certificate issue, appropriately, a mapping issue. Appropriately, we have to send this to business. So Mary has to solve it. Mary is the person who is responsible for the end-to-end process. She got this work item in her inbox. And here's also a clear description what now to do in the Sales Cloud to fix this particular issue. And once this is done, we re-trigger now the workflow, the lead transfer process. And if we go now back to the application, meaning done by Harry, we see now clearly that this issue is resolved. So we refresh the alert inbox, we confirm the alert appropriately. We add an appropriate message here. The mapping error was solved. Everything is fine. And if we go back to the monitoring, then we see also that the complete scenario is green. Everything is working as corrected. The lead transfer process was correctly, and Peter is happy because all his leads were received. The next use case I like to share with you is business process monitoring. We like to make sure that also your business processes can be monitored in an appropriate way. So we like to make sure that you understand whether your business is running well or not so well. And if you have some disruption or if you have some exceptions, then it's really good to identify this as fast as possible. We have a lot of potential here also to predict certain critical situations once we have the data and once we apply it. Business process monitoring is also integrated with alert management. So we can also create alerts out of this and then send out notifications and so on, as well as we can also trigger operation flows to correct certain things manually or automatically. Business process monitoring addresses the line of business mainly. This means the global or local process manager, as well as the local or global process executor. So we have to make sure that we have here also the right tooling in place to address the business needs. This means we do here an operational monitoring, making sure that the business processes are running smoothly. And we provide also drill down capability to analyze a critical situation and drill down in the documents. The application owner itself, which belongs to IT, doesn't play here a major role. He has just to make sure that technically the business processes are running smoothly. But again, business process monitoring addresses in particular the needs of the business process user. So also here we will provide you with a short demo that making sure that you understand how business process monitoring is working. Now I'd like to introduce to you business process monitoring based on SAP Cloud ALM. In our scenario here, we have a company called Your Office Supply. And this company is using SAP S/4HANA to build up their lead to cash process. And we're also using the business process monitoring based on SAP Cloud ALM to monitor their end-to-end business processes. We have different people which are involved in this particular scenario. This is on one hand side Ed. Ed belongs to the customer AB Logistics. He is a kind of premium customer of Your Office Supply, and he has to send very urgent delivery or goods which he need very fast to Office Supply. We have Raphael involved, who is the order processing agent, so the person who has to make sure that the customers are satisfied and they get their goods as they order it. And then we have also Lynn involved, who is an accountant and has to make sure that the cash collection works correctly, also for customer AB Logistics. With this, we start now this scenario. At the end, Raphael checks on a regular basis in business process monitoring the status. So you have different dashboards. You can now drill in via different steps to the appropriate KPIs in the manage customer order section. We see now here that he switched now the time selection to today. And then we see here also there are certain KPIs collected, amongst others also the sales documents with credit blocks. We can now also select one of these sales documents to get more details. So we copy this out and we move now to the sales document items created. We search now for one document number, see now in detail what was ordered in this sales document, see the different items. We see also it is relatively urgent that they are delivered because they are ordered in a timely manner and the delivery is expected tomorrow more or less. So we have to make sure that this is working correctly. Obviously sorting is possible here. We go now back and also check again the sales documents with credit blocks. We can also here add a favorite. And with this one, we create now also a workflow, which has to be handled by Lynn, because Lynn is the accountant. She has to check, let's say, whether this credit block can be removed. So she is now looking in the alert inbox. We see now the alert inbox, see now the documents which has to be checked, and she is doing this quite patient. And at the end, she releases also the credit blocks. So this are now, the credit blocks are automatically released. And now Raphael is checking this once again, and he sees now all the credit blocks are removed and the customer can be delivered. And Ed, as a customer, is now happy that he get everything what he needs. Now I like to talk about the future scope of SAP Cloud ALM for operations. So this is our roadmap. We started with SAP Cloud ALM in May 2020, providing you the first functionality, which was integration monitoring, business process monitoring, alert management, notification management, and landscape management. In May, we started also an early adopter care program, making sure that we also guide the first customer through through the application. And this was quite successful. We have really, I think, more than 30 customers joining this and making sure that we also get here the first feedback and also resolve the first small hiccups. From the content perspective, we supported with the May delivery S/4HANA Essential Edition, as well as C4 Cloud for Customers, as well as SCP Cloud Platform Integration Suite for integration monitoring and exception monitoring, as well as we supported the essential S/4HANA Essentials for business process perspective. Now in August, we delivered additional functionality. First of all, we provided you with the first version of the intelligent event processing. Also operation automation is a part of what we provided, and also job monitoring, and also landscape management. So a bunch of functionality simply to make sure that you get all coverage and extend the coverage. As mentioned, we split alert management and event management to be prepared to also process manual events or reoccurring events. And that we also enable landscape management for on-premise system is a kind of preparation to make also sure that we can also handle on-premise system later on. From content perspective, we added for integration monitoring and exception monitoring, the Marketing Cloud, Concur, Fieldglass, and SuccessFactors. And job monitoring starts already with a relatively complete scope. So we have S/4HANA Essentials, we have Marketing Cloud and IBP, which is covered by job monitoring. Now, in the time frame from August to November, we plan to provide additional use cases. One is the real user monitoring and also the business service management. We also plan to provide you with embedded alerting and authorization management for business process monitoring. Alerting will be also provided for job monitoring. Already available right now is real user monitoring and performance monitoring. We will also provide you with an embedded version of operation automation and then also business service management. So this comes complete more or less. Business service management will be integrated with the Cloud Availability Center. This is also quite important. So we will retrieve directly the availability of the different services from the Cloud Availability Center. Content-wise, we will in particular invest in SAP S/4HANA on-premise. So we will, with integration monitoring, exception monitoring, business process monitoring, and with RUM and performance monitoring, cover also S/4HANA on-premise. But also the business suite we will support. And then you see also here we will continue with SuccessFactors and integration monitoring, exception management, as well as with Ariba. Job monitoring, we plan to provide you with functionality for IRPA. And also in RUM, we will provide you with better coverage for certain cloud solutions. And we plan also the February delivery. In this time frame, we try to provide you also with the health monitoring, which is a kind of system monitoring for cloud products. So this means certain aspects, in particular for platform as a service offerings, but also for software as a service offerings, has to be covered. Appropriately, we will also launch this use case. The real user monitoring will also get in alerting and analytics. In business process monitoring, we plan to provide you with search and interactive charts functionality. And then in integration monitoring, we will add also an intelligent housekeeping. Here, the idea is that we keep, let's say, final message flow only a very limited period of time in the system and broken message flows for a longer period of time. So that's why we have to add here really a little bit more intelligent capabilities to do housekeeping. And we will also provide embedded analytic in the sense that we also provide you with historical data, make it understandable how things are processed. And then business service management, we plan to provide you with additional functionality at the downtime management and at the service level agreement management. On the content side, and the main investment goes in the direction of S/4HANA extended version. So this comes also in February. And then you see also several other content is planned to be provided. So this means we always provide continuously new functionality, new features, but also new content. On the long run, we will add the missing use cases like synthetic user monitoring, like advanced analytics and intelligence, consistency check, configuration monitoring. And step by step, we will also open up the infrastructure for inbound and outbound APIs documented in the Business Hub, so that you can also pump data to SAP Cloud ALM, as well as that you can retrieve data from SAP Cloud ALM. Now, what is on the long term planned? We have, on one hand side, we have in the center of our activities is the business service management. Again, the first version is planned to be available in November. The idea of business service management is now to abstract a little bit for the technical services and summarize technical services, which could be a cloud tenant, which could be a logical system or a technical system, to business services. A business service can, for instance, be defined on the level of an end-to-end process or of a sub-process or of an integration scenario or of an end-user scenario. But it has to be something which is understandable by the business user. And at the end, what we are doing there, we are providing you also with a downtime management and with an event management and with a service level agreement management on the business level. And then we cascade this down to the technical services. So this means if we say we have a business downtime, then more or less the technical service inherit this information from the business service, and we schedule appropriately downtimes for the technical services. As one input for the business service management, we have the Cloud Availability Center. Cloud Availability Center is provided by SAP and exposes to you the official availability of our cloud services. This means if you plan a downtime or if you have an unplanned downtime, we expose this to you. And we will use this information in business service management. So this means if SAP says, for instance, I plan a downtime, then we have to consider this in the business downtime management appropriately. You can also add your own monitoring. So you can, for instance, say I have own monitoring for my systems, which are still running on premise, or I have a health monitoring for my cloud services, which I perhaps built by myself with the help of SAP Cloud Platform. So this monitoring can be also added to the business service management. You can also take synthetic user monitoring and script certain scenarios, and this will also find its way in the business service management. So if you are saying I have my own availability or healthiness monitoring, then we will also consume this with business service management to communicate to you planned and unplanned downtimes. All this is based on the landscape management as a kind of infrastructure services, which is feed from the Cloud Landscape Directory of SAP. And then we define on top of this the business services based on the technical services, which are here in scope. Out of business service management, you can also expose and trigger events manually, for instance, with the business event calendar, but also on a regular basis by the business event scheduling mechanism. You can, for instance, also send out notifications out of the business downtime management. So this is all possible. And then out of these events, we support the outgoing channels, the outbound channels like operation automation again, or like notification management or third-party integration. So intelligent event processing is a kind of central hub, which can receive events from monitoring and alerting, or can receive events from business service management and handles this event in a unified way, and enables us also to be capable to correlate events from different sources. We have now here some related information. You see we have our tech ed sessions, which can be considered. We have a hands-on session for SAP Cloud ALM, for instance. We have also a session which gives you some information regarding the selection of the right ALM solution. As mentioned, we have now SAP Solution Manager. We have SAP Focus Run. We have SAP Cloud ALM. So this gives you here the clear guidance what should be selected. We have a roadmap session for SAP Cloud ALM, considering SAP Cloud ALM completely, meaning the operation part and the implementation part, as well as we have a dedicated session for process and integration monitoring, a hands-on session where we give you guidance how you can, at the end, work with the different applications, but also how you can configure the different use cases. As you see, we have also different links here embedded for you. We have the help portal, which gives you a permanent overview regarding the functionality. There's also a what's new session, which gives you a kind of overview of the features to be considered. And we have also in particular for the operation part, the expert portal, which in particular gives you guidance regarding the content. You see we have a lot of content already available, but this is a continuous task to provide you new content. And we decided to document this content in the expert portal. We have a similar approach for Solution Manager and Focus Run. So this was quite well received by customers. So we follow here exactly the same approach to give you here also always the latest information regarding the available content. Here's some additional information, learning experience at TechEd. So please also have a look in this information, making sure that you have all the information available for your needs to really understand what SAP is doing in total. Saying this, I'm through with my session. I'm very happy that I got the chance to introduce to you SAP Cloud ALM for operations. In case of any further question, don't hesitate to contact me directly. You see here my email address, and we will follow up every single request. And we hope that you enjoy the session. We hope that you enjoy SAP Cloud ALM. Is one of the platforms of future where we in particular can operate your cloud-centric landscape. It is a kind of journey. So as you saw, we add permanently new functionality, new content. So please feel free to give us your feedback, to provide us with your requirements so that we invest in the right directions. Thank you very much and goodbye.